All right. Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Drag Racing Live, where we bench race with the world's top drag racers. Bill and JB here with you, folks. And tonight we feature Will Smith, a driver whose journey from Junior Dragsters to his first full-time NHRA Top Fuel ride with SCAG Racing. Nothing short of remarkable. Will was just battling a rare soft tissue sarcoma, 6 surgeries in just 5 weeks, and Will's determination has brought him back into the seat and ready to race in the 2026 NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series. Will, so great to have you here with us. Let's jump right into it. Holy cow, cancer, man, and you just went through it. Tell us how you're feeling.
I feel great, actually. First of all, I want to thank you guys for having me on tonight. But yeah, I feel great. I got cleared by my doctor last Tuesday to drive, so really excited. There's a few things that are going to take a little time to get back to 100%, but I feel great. Ready to get back in the car, ready to make some laps. Um, it's been a long couple of months. I actually was diagnosed with it back in November, but first surgery happened. I went in 2 days after signed my acceptance letter with SCAG Racing to drive their car. So, went from being at the top to, I don't want to say bottom, but it was definitely a whirlwind of events there. And what was supposed to have been a two surgery deal, go in, cut it all out, come back, a couple
Few
weeks later,
days after.
do a skin graft. It ended up being way more extensive than that, and um, 6 surgeries later in 5 weeks, here we are. I'm cancer free, and when my doctor called and told me the results, that it finally came back negative, gosh, such a relief. I mean, good Lord above, He answered all our prayers, and that was better than any race I've ever won, probably will ever win. So very very thankful and blessed for that. Um, so yeah, I'm just ready to get back in the race car and do race car things with my new team.
Well, that's so fantastic. And I really got it. You got to hand it to Skeg, right? Right after they sign the contract, this news drops. I have to think hate to think there's some folks in the world like this, but there might be some folks that want to rethink that right then. But they stuck with you and, all the way through.
So I'll tell you how uh, Randy Glady. I mean, he's just the best. Great guy. Very very thankful to have the opportunity to work for his organization, represent his brands, and even more proud to call him a friend. Such a just a wonderful human being. And when he reached out to me about driving, I had to be straight up with him, and I told him what I had going on, and I said, here's what the doctors say, here's what they're going to do. I should be ready to roll by February. Shouldn't be any issue. And he made it clear right away that health is most important. Focus on that. We feel you're the right guy for the job. So you just take care of yourself, and we'll deal with the racing stuff later as it happens. And unfortunately, after that, it was way more than 2 surgeries, and it got way more extensive. And I was getting concerned for my position here. And I talked to Randy, and he said, "Look, you focus on getting better and having positive thoughts, and get through this, and don't worry about the race and none of that right yet." And gave me some reassurance there. And um, gosh, he's it's just a blessing to, like I said, work for Randy and his teams, and Maria, and represent their brands. But I'm even more proud to call him a friend. And this whole team, I don't want to get too far off topic, or I know you got a list of questions here, but I got to give a big shout out to our team, everyone on the Bluebird Turf Top Fuel team, and everyone under the whole SCAG banner. I mean, Justin, Daniel, Dave and Paul Richards, Tommy Delight, like literally everybody on every team, every car we have has helped us tremendously, helped me personally over the last couple months to come in here and get acclimated with things, also get things taken care of that, with what I had going on, everyone was there to help. But Glenn Huzar, Scott Okahara, Brent, Morgan, everybody's been shot working since first of January when this whole deal started. Um, Basically started with nothing first of January, and these guys have just worked their tails off, and our whole team. We've added, um, some new guys since that are helping us out now, and just I owe it all to everyone. And but let me back up and say this too: all of my doctors, my family, Crystal, uh, all my friends, my church family, everybody that has supported me through this. So I'm just a lucky guy to work for some great people, have great people as family and friends. Um, I'm just super blessed.
Oh, that's awesome, man. We love shout outs here, man. We usually ask you at the end if we don't cover it up front, so you got it covered.
I'm sorry, I wanted to go and get that out of the way because that was priority for me.
That's
So
right. Let's get the checklist done. And we got
yeah,
some questions, but we're here to talk
yeah.
about what you want to talk about. We're just like, we're like leaning on the transformer or the transporter back in the pits. I guess they don't have the old dualies anymore, but if you can lean on the side of lean on the side of a big old trailer. But
I'm old school, and I'd love to have a dually and old chaparral trailer. I just think they're so cool. So
They were awesome. Those were the, sadly, I've been there for the whole thing, but anyway, no, not sadly, because it was wonderful to be there. Well, let's talk about this. Was obviously a dream come true. You've been heading this for a long, long time. Your path has included like top alcohol dragster, some top fuel outings, even nitro funny car. How did all those experiences shape you as a driver to get you to this point?
Um, the experience gained with each one, with the alcohol car, you learn this, and with the top fuel car, you learn this, and the funny car is a totally different animal, and just but it's I always wanted to be as versatile as possible. I wanted to be able to adapt to any type of car I could get in. I mean, I've driven pro mod and I've bracket raced forever and ran juniors, so I come up through the ranks and um, I, it's made the transition because I've driven so much. It's made the transition so much easier, up to this point. Um, as I mentioned, I was always hoping I would and praying I would get an opportunity like this to drive for SCAG Racing. Um, but I knew the cards were stacked against me. I didn't come from money, and I just had to work hard. And I just love drag racing. It doesn't matter what it is, what type of car it is. I just drag racing's my passion, and so being able to drive all these different cars, they're all so different, but fundamentally they're all pretty much the same, And I for example, like we poured a seat this past week at the shop in the other car, and everybody's like, the guys, like, well, how's it feel? And I'm like, it feels fine. Like, I'm very easy going with it. And they're like, well, it's yours. And I'm like, look, won the Baby Gators in the Samsel's top alcohol car a few years back. And I had two Jegs tire covers behind me to push me up where I could see the front wheel. So I'm like, I almost feel weird if it is too comfortable, but I was always able to jump in and out of cars, and hopefully, this be no different,
That's
but
great. Oh my gosh, yeah, you're right. I've heard recently a couple of people say, I think fuel racers say, I would not jump on one of those pro mods, but those guys are crazy. So tell us
I
about those PDRA years there.
Yeah, I can tell you, I never competed in the PDRA. I worked there for 10 years. I ran some local quick eight stuff and a
Mhm.
nitrous pro mod, and I love the nitrous cars. That's my favorite, which is where I got my start at with Shannon Jenkins and Mike Castellano back in the day. But I can tell you, yeah, it's more hairy driving those cars, especially in a quick eight type event, on a local track, smaller tracks and
Down a
everything.
cow path somewhere.
Yeah, it's a challenge. And I will say, I look back and I'm like, I don't want to say I shouldn't have done it, but it's like, we could have done that a little better, or went to another place. So, um, that type of car taught me a lot. I mean, all these cars, I mean, they're so quick, they're so fast. I mean, you can't think. You got to react and be on top of it. You actually, I always say, you got to be a step ahead of it. And as I've come up through the fuel ranks, this year is the opportunity for me to race week in, week out, and I'm, you know, I I'm so looking forward to that just so I can work on being a better driver. I need more runs, and I'm going to be in a great car with great people and great resources, and just being consistent, and getting those laps week in, week out, I think is going to help me a lot.
That's fantastic. Folks, we're here with Will Smith, Top Fuel driver, about to jump in. Like, subscribe, share, let your friends know we have Will here tonight, and start getting your questions ready because JB's going to do the Q&A right here at the middle of the hour. Well, let's talk about some of the other folks who out there who might be struggling, right? For warriors, both on, life's hard nights and on the track. What's one mindset or habit that helped you stay focused through all the adversity?
Well, with drag racing, I'm going to speak kind of outside of drag race too. It's all about finding your passion in life, and drag racing specifically, sorry, is nitro racing has always been my passion. And you know, I started out working for Steve Johnson, Pro Stock Motorcycle, Steve Johnson, when I was about 14 years old. One thing he taught me, of the many things he taught me, was setting goals and writing them down. I had them hanging like plastered on my mirror in my on my dresser, and when I was a teenager, and I looking at them every day and just instilling that in my mind that, hey, this is what I want to do, and this, but how am I going to do it, and I, you know, that list kind of changed quite often, but I never took my eyes and sights off the goal. And there's been some very trying and hard times, but I feel my first break that I got was getting to drive for Dave Harada and his Kenny and Chio and in their A fuel car, and that was my first shot at an NHRA ride, running top alcohol. And part of my deal was with Dave, we worked out a deal for me to move up to Indiana during the year, and I slept on his couch all year. And I can tell you, there was many times I laid on his couch, and at night, and I'm like, wow, this is tough sometimes, but I'm like, drag racing, nitro racing, the goal of getting in a top fuel car is what kept me motivated. And it was quite simple for me. I just have to remind myself sometimes why I was doing what I was doing. If you, um, you need, there's a saying, it's like when you feel like quitting, remember why you started. And that was just something that sign is actually in my living room. I found one. I'm like, I gotta have that. But that's always been my mindset.
Oh, that's great. And you're a long and proud history of like fuel funny car drivers who who slept on couches no matter where, where the ride was. It's just the way it works.
That
That's
I always wanted to be a real racer. I always wanted to be known like that. And me being, you know, crewing on the cars. I mean, when I first started driving, I was doing bottom end on the car. I wish we could still run two-piece suits because I'd take my jacket off and I'd hop in the bottom and start, doing the bottom end. But anyway, like um, those to me, the guys, the pioneers of our sport, and the guys that paved and ladies have paved the way for us. All the sacrifices they made to do what they did. That's to me, that's they were real racers, and there's a ton of these people still out here now. I'm not saying that, but it's just who I wanted to be, and um, couldn't stroke a check that would cover any expenses or any seats, so I just had to work it off and find what sponsors I could. So
well, fantastic. And here we are, man. You're making it happen. I love it. And you take me, I'm a, big Mike Dunn fan from back in
yeah,
those days, and Ronnie Caps too. And I start naming them now. You got to name everybody, but because there's
yeah,
many of them who were doing that stuff. But those guys are like still around,
yep, yep,
or were the big show for a long time.
yep.
But well, you've worked in, as we mentioned, marketing, crewed on cars, driven. How's that wide background behind the scenes helped you as a driver?
Relationships. That has been the biggest thing over the years. Another thing that Steve Johnson instilled in me when I was a young teen: meet as many people as you can, shake as many hands as possible. I used to be shy, and I'm not going to say I'm still not in some ways, but I like I had to come out of my shell when I was a late teen. I'm like, if this is what I want to do, I gotta quit being shy. I gotta go out and talk with people, meet people, and build my personal brand and try to sell it. So Um, Relationships, people. I mean, there has been so many people that have helped me along the way in so many ways, but they're all derivatives from met these people when I first started crewing on Mike Castellano and Shannon Jenkins' car, and then when I went to work for the PDRA, the Franklin family were great people. That's what allowed me to be able to go to Lowell, Indiana, and drive for Harada and work for him. So it you connect the dots, and I look back, and there's so many people that have helped me, but every one of them I've met from doing all these different things in the sport. And I think the people has been the most important. And I've learned a tremendous amount, gained a ton of knowledge and experience doing different things from marketing to crewing to driving, all the things. But people and relationships has, I think, been the biggest thing for me that's helped get me here for sure.
That's awesome. Well, people do they see passion and they want to help you if they see your heart's right and your passion's there.
It is
That's
amazing how many people are like that. I mean, I can't tell you, I've had people come up to me and several who were involved with the PDRA and said, "Hey, man, I know what you're trying to do, and you know, you're a good guy, and I want to help you out." And it brings tears to my eyes that people, were paying attention and wanted to help me out. And I call it the band of brothers. There's so many people that, if they're listening, they all know who they are, but. When Dixon and I teamed up, he told me, he said, "That's your band of brothers," and I'm like, Absolutely,"
Mhm.
and so I've got a very very great support system that's helped me along the way.
Yeah, you bet. There's one of my favorites too. Love Larry, great
Oh,
guy.
me too.
But
He's been a mentor of mine for years. I love the guy to death. He gave me my first shot at Top Fuel and getting it, my license, and um, that was one of the greatest things ever, especially getting to do it with him. I mean, we've been friends for a very long time, and he's a very special guy and a
yeah,
legend.
yeah, you bet. Yeah, I'm so glad that that the NHRA 75th came out, right? So that we made sure to got some of these other newer guys on there, and clearly needed to be on there. Glad he made it.
Absolutely.
Without saying, right? I mean, because I hate to be the
Yeah.
76th person, but what do you do? Some of the folks, I was proud to take part in that, but some of the folks who, I, not everybody made it that I wanted, but everybody made it sure to deserve it. That's for sure. But
Absolutely.
well, I think we're about to go to ground zero tomorrow, right? You're about to fire a Top Fuel motor and do a couple of test runs. And what do you think's going to be going through your head, especially now that you've battled so much to be there?
Well, I can say there's been so much go through my head over the last few days that I'm hoping for calmness, But no, I mean, when that thing fires up, that's my home, And I've, gosh, I mean, there's no greater sound on this earth than a fuel engine firing up, in my opinion. And uh, I've been mentally preparing, and we're all. One thing I really like about this opportunity is Glenn, who's our crew chief. He's getting his shot at crew chief role, and one of my great friends, Scotty Okahara, is co-crew chief, getting a shot at that. So um, we've got an experienced crew, and we're all experienced and knowledgeable, and but it's a brand new team, so we're all starting out together, and everybody's like, hey, there's no pressure on it, everybody. It's just like, hey, we're gonna get out there and do it. And so I'm excited. I got to fire the car up, for the warm-ups when I was here roughly about 10 days ago during the test session, and I was able to do that. And uh, that's when it started sinking in. It's like, man, this is the car I'm, I don't want to say my car, but this is the car I'm going to get to drive this year. And it that was the best medicine I believe I've ever had. I mean, it's nitro does wonders. So I'm ready for tomorrow. We're going to try to make a couple runs, and we still got a few things we're sorting out. So we're just going to make a couple hits and then try to make them all on Wednesday. So
Have you, I know that you obviously a couple of cars in the team, and you probably have a great. I know you have a great brain trust. Are you guys trying to set up the cars as identically as you can, or is the plan to use one as kind of to test some things out and learn some things? What's kind of the overall plan, if you can share? It might be top secret.
Yeah, there's some great data there. Tommy Delago helped. He was very played a very integral role in putting all this together. Help putting everyone together and all the pieces of the puzzle. And he's a great guy, and he's a great tuner, and we have good baselines to go off of from that car from last year. So that's kind of where we're going to start, and we're just going to chip away at it. The main thing is just getting all our parts worked out. Making runs and just good clean runs, and me getting more experience as a driver, and everybody kind of settling in their roles. So, that's kind of the game plan. So, um, we're very thankful that we have, a team car in Justin. And of course, all the other brain trust we have with our funny car teams as well. So we have resources, we have, great knowledge, and it's just a matter of putting the Bluebird Turf Top Fuel car on track and firing her up and letting her rip, see what happens.
Sounds good. And well, tell us a little bit about that while we're here. Tell us about Bluebird Turf. I hadn't heard about it here on the East Coast, but it sure is a good looking machine. Tell us what those are all about.
So Bluebird Turf is a company owned by SCAG, and you know, as you see pictured there, they have their version of the Cheetah, zero turn more like the SCAG more, and they have log splitters, seeders, more commercial type um, equipment, for turf and other landscaping jobs and whatnot. So, um, car turned out beautiful, though. I mean, everybody was talking how good that car looks, and I know Randy and Maria wanted kind of a simple, nothing real gaudied up, and gosh, they nailed it with this one, So, perfect shade of blue, and uh, got a fierce looking bird on the side of it. So we're excited to see it see it flap its wings and see how fast we can fly with it. So
I love it.
um,
Well, I love JB's lettering here. The blue. I don't know if he took that off the car, but that looks gorgeous. I mean, I might want to leverage some of that in more dragless materials. That looks good.
I'd say
yeah,
it's just appearing, if nothing else, man. It looks beautiful.
I I would agree with you on that. Yeah, it turned out really nice, man. They did a phenomenal job with the wrap and the color on it, and yeah, it's um, beautiful shade of blue, and we're excited to put it on track. And every race, the SCAG Racing hosts, dealers and distributors within the area, and um, we're really excited to have everyone out this weekend. And that's something we do at every race, and we have honorary crew members, and it's just um, a really exciting time ahead. And we've got Florida Outdoor Power Equipment coming out this weekend. That's our dealer of the race, so we're really excited for that. And I think I was informed the other day. I think we're even going to have a lawnmower race between me, Justin, and Dave and Daniel. I'm not sure if it's Friday or Saturday yet, but that should be very exciting and fun. So,
You gonna rub a little paint there, or you gonna make it clean?
hey, I'm just going to try to leave on Justin. If I can leave first, then I'm good with that. So, but
Awesome.
no,
Well,
we got a great team, great teammates, great people, um, great ambassadors for uh, the sport, for SCAG, for Bluebird Turf, and I'm really excited to join them, and appreciate the fact that they think I'm good enough to represent with them as well. So.
I think you're making a lot of fans here, Will, for the folks who haven't met you. And folks out there on the line, get your questions ready, get your comments ready, because we're going to go to JB right after this final thought. But Will, what are your goals for the 2026 season, both on paper and personally? And how do you want your story to inspire others inside and outside racing this year?
Well, so the goals I have, I mean, I'd love for us to be able to go out and qualify at every race. I mean, that's a huge, I mean, that's a goal, and I have no doubt on that front. So I'm excited to, um, hopefully, we can say that there's some stiff competition out there, and we all know that. Um, I personally, one of the personal goals for me is to just, get better as a driver. These things are so fast. I mean, you try to catch it dropping a cylinder or something like that. I mean, obviously, very experienced drivers, are able to do that. And I'm. It seems the few times when I do come out and make a few runs, by the end of the weekend, I'm like up where I need to be, but then it could be 6, 8 months before I'm back in the car again. So I'm really excited to have this opportunity to race week in, week out. But just me personally, um, you know, just get more experience, do a better job for our team. Um, Love to uh, finish top 10 this year. Like I said, there's a lot of great cars out there, but that's some personal goals I have. But our goals are we're going to try to go out and win every race. I mean that's the goal. So I think I speak for everyone on the team on that front. But it's uh, uh, it's going to have our it's going to be a learning curve, for all of us, putting this car out and getting everything sorted out. But certainly no doubts on any of that front. So, but yeah, that's we go out and we strive to do the best we can and try to turn on every win light. So
I love it. Well, let's go out to JB and John Bockelman there, and our chat bleachers, so named by Dina Parisi. I don't know if you know Dina. They're
I do.
the NHRA Pro Mod world champ one year, but she calls them the chat bleachers on her. We stole that from her, and we with love. So what do folks have to say out there, John?
Well, we're here from coast to coast tonight, and we have a few comments and a few questions for Will. Randy Johnston and Jay Radabaugh have both said this is great news for Will, and they're very thankful
I
for you.
appreciate that.
Rob McCabe said he just made Will's entry for the drag list ready for this weekend.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Got
Rob,
to fill in a new personal best now. That's the
Yeah, exactly. That's a personal goal I got for this weekend. It's um, yeah. Hopefully we can blow that out of the water. So
don't get
Rob
Dixon
don't
mad though.
miss anything, man. He's
I,
on top of his game, and it's great having him with us. And Ford Purley had a question for you about last year, or
sure.
maybe it was earlier than last year. But his question was, what would make you feel your first season in Top Fuel was a success?
Um, I kind of like not to dance around the question. I getting hired by SCAG Racing and getting a full time shot with this
Right.
caliber of team. I feel like is the greatest. That's when I feel like I made it. Getting the opportunity. So um, it's yeah, like I said, we want to go out, we want to qualify at every race, and we want to try to win every race. We want to be standing on the stage at the end of the year at the banquet, and but for me personally, I feel like in my mind I made it. Getting the opportunity to be a part of such a great organization as SCAG Racing. So
Hmm. Yeah, that's perfect, man. And you said something earlier that really impressed me. I mean, you're giving us a great interview, but you said something that I totally agree with, and that is, you said that in so many words, you said that the supercharged cackle of a nitro engine is the sweetest sound ever made by man. And I absolutely agree with that.
I get so pumped up when it fires up that I just like want to go punch something in the wall. You know what I mean? It's I had never sat in a fuel funny car until the night before I drove Paul Smith's car. Actually, a year ago, I think today, actually, when I got my license, and whether it's a funny car, top fuel car, or whatever. But when you're strapped in that thing, or in the case of a funny car, and you're sitting right behind it, looking through the back of the blower, and that thing fires up. I mean, a lot of people would get scared or intimidated, but I would just man, I was like pumped. I'm ready. I felt like I was made to do this. So yeah, it's for people that haven't experienced what the sound and the feels and what nitro is like. They got to come out to an NHRA event and check it out.
Absolutely. Well, we're caught up for the moment, fellas.
Sounds good, John.
Awesome.
Thank you, my friend. And thanks for everybody out in the chat bleachers. Keep on chatting. Well, let's go back. I did want to. So we talked about it a little bit. So what are your best times so far? I think probably in Larry Dixon's machine, right? Is that your top speed in ET so far?
It is. I think it was U.S. Nationals in 23. That was the last race Larry and I ran together, and we went a 382, just shy of 322. You know, we couldn't lean on the car super hard because the budget we had. These things run on money, so the more money you can throw at them, the faster you can go, and the more parts attrition there is. But yeah, that was, well, going on 2.5 years ago now, and I went 417 at 310 in the Fuel Funny car last year. First full pull going to the 1,000 foot, and uh, clearly it's a different situation, different feel, but it's definitely a different feel. And Funny car, you got all the clutch dust, and you couldn't hardly see. It's like looking through a black cloud, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. That's when I knew I was slightly crazy, which I think you got to be a little crazy to jump in these things. But that further validated that. But so
That's
yeah,
it.
I'm hoping, hopefully by the end of testing, we'll have a personal best on the time slip, and come Friday, uh, hopefully even better. So
We'll be watching it. So watch the drag list. I know Rob McCabe is going to be. I saw that entry today, and we'll fill that bad boy in with some times.
awesome.
John, you had another a thought from the chat line?
Yes, I missed this earlier. Sorry about that. Randy Johnson asked, how many of the NHRA events are you planning to run this year? And will you be running some IHRA events also?
We'll be running full tour this year, all 20 events with a Bluebird car. Uh, you know, full time car over here, so we're really excited for that. I did some IHRA stuff last year when I was, obviously independent, kind of running whatever I could. We picked up the win in Milan, Michigan last year in Top Alcohol Dragster when I drove for Robin and Tony Samsel, and they played a huge part in helping me get to this point. And but yeah, we had a good time good time over there. Got to run Mark Kurshauser's funny car at the season finale at what used to be called Galop Motorsports Park, but Durana Motorsports Park now. And we did that in November. So yeah, we mixed it up last year, but this year it'll just be a full time NHRA tour, with SCAG.
Kira Steinbeck just said this is marvelous.
I appreciate that. I still pinch myself, and I'm like, I told someone earlier at the track when I was there, I'm like, I'm still waiting for him to call and say, oh, we made a mistake. We hired the wrong guy, or, we got the names mixed up or something. It still don't seem real, but, I'm fortunate to say it's my job now, and we're just going to get in there and do what you got to do, and build and grow from there. So
It's an awesome opportunity, and man, I can't think of somebody I'd want to root for more. Um, well, as you've gone up and down the nation's highways and byways and drag racing and doing all the things you've done, tell us some road stories, either at some things that happen at the track or on the way to the track. Maybe your most fun, most miserable, and craziest time at the drags. I'll just kind of open it up. What comes to mind? I'll put you on the spot here, I guess.
I should have studied that question earlier.
Well, I didn't.
Some
I
of them
didn't
may
send
not
it
be
to you.
appropriate either, but oh gosh,
That's okay. We can always defer to the tavern after one of the races if we want to.
yeah, we might have to do that. Um, I told someone recently, I was like, man, I should have kept up with all the stories. It seems like every event I go to, whether was when I worked for Alanabi or anytime I, drove for Heradas or the Samsels or worked for PDRA, there's always some story or two or sometimes three that stand out after every after every event. And I'm like, man, I should have been keeping log of this to write a book one day, because most people wouldn't believe half of it anyway. Uh, I don't even know where to begin.
Do you ever
Well, okay, I got a good one for you, and I guess it's um, God, I don't know if I should even say it. It's nothing bad, but yeah, I'll hold off on that
you can
one.
change the names.
well, well, let's just say this: when we were in Qatar, and we were over there for 7.5 weeks, and the last night we were there, me and Shannon, the Iceman, and a couple of our crew guys, we went to dinner. This is a funny story, and I'm just going to say it, but we went and had dinner one night, and we went to a big mall downtown, super nice. The people over there were great. They took great care of us, and we always had a great time. And so had dinner, and a couple of us had to go to the restroom, and we waited in line. We go in the restroom looks all kind of the same, and you got your urinals on the wall here, and your stalls down here, and everybody's kind of waiting in line. And so we saw another area over here that looked like you were at a racetrack or a football stadium. They have like a little trough thing or whatever. So we went over there, and next thing we know, one of the guys that was working there started like yelling, saying something we couldn't really understand. And I just immediately like turned this way and looked at the wall, and there was a piece of paper there. It had some fine print, but in big words it said mosque. And unfortunately, was where they washed their feet and stuff. And we were like, oh my gosh. And we were like, we felt terrible, and Shannon, he stood there and laughed, and gosh, we felt terrible. And I was like, run out of there. And I told the guy, I'm like, hey, we got to go. Like, I apologize to him. It was an honest mistake, and it happens a lot. But I'm like, I told people, and they're like, ain't no way. I'm like, yeah, unfortunately. But gosh, everybody gets a kick out of that story, it seems like. But
yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's been many a times, many road stories. Gosh, you'll have to have me on for another episode, because I need to go through and map all these out and categorize them, and which ones we can tell and which ones we shouldn't. And then, but it's all been, they're all good. I mean, I've had some great friends that I crewed with for years, and unfortunately, a couple of them have passed away now. And gosh, we had some of the best times together. And they had their stories of their own when we started, that they used to tell me when I was a kid, and then I got to work with them, and we created our own stories, went
right.
from there. But anyway, yeah, it's being on the road and drag racing. It's important to have, friends you get along with and like to work with, and because a lot of things happen, both good and bad, and they all create stories,
Right.
So
It's what we have as our stories. It is a crazy world, isn't it? This vagabond, I mean, at every level, right? I mean, I have a bunch of friends running blown alcohol funny cars on the East Coast here, and everywhere we go, it's getting together, it's having fun, it's some crazy story, and something happens at one of the restaurants. Everybody's making these stories, but it's all about kind of traveling around as vagabonds. And when you get somewhere together, you do something, and then you just kind of make it happen.
I got a really good story for it. Just popped in my head, and this one happened back in November. And if I'm being honest, I didn't know about it till after the race was over and we went and had dinner. But when I was driving Mark Herzhauser's funny car a lot, I got to work with Jimbo Ermolovich, and I just love Jimbo to death. He's a cool guy. I was always a fan of his, especially with Al Hoffman back in the day. So getting to work with those guys, and it was just a blast, and he likes to have fun. He's the guy you need on here to tell stories, because he's got plenty of them. But we made our first qualifying run and ran well enough. We qualified that, weather conditions deteriorated that night. And we're like, we're not going to make this second run. We know we're in, and we were on a really tight budget. So they went ahead and pulled the motor apart and just to check everything. And that's something they don't do every run, the way Jimbo runs a car. So, but they wanted to check it because plan was hopefully, go all 3 rounds Saturday and not take the heads off, as crazy as that sounds. But he's done it before and it ain't hurt nothing, and it ran really well. So I guess it scuffed up a couple of pistons. And uh, like I said, I didn't know about this till the next night after the race was over, and we went to dinner and the guys were talking because I didn't believe them when they told me. They said, "Yeah, we were short on pistons." And, so to the left of us, Lex June was parked there and was selling merchandise, and stuff out and had a table. And then to the left of us, Del Creasy was doing the same. Well, I guess Jimbo had walked over there and he ended up buying 2 pistons off of Creasy that were on his table for $20 and put those in the engine. And that was the pistons we ran first round and almost won the race.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Then I told them, I'm like, y'all are janking them. And they were like, no, dead serious. They're in 7 and 8 right now. And I just laughed. I'm like, man, that's so cool. So if you ever wonder why there's a U.S. Postal Service sticker on the side of the car, they had banged a blower and it was junk and needed one. And Jimbo came to the rescue and had one, and he was using it as a mailbox at his shop. And he put it back together, rebuilt it, and that's the blower on the car right now. So
I love it. That's what grew this sport to what it is today. Guys doing that kind of stuff.
Amen. And that, gosh, that's the stories I grew up hearing. And like you said, those type of guys are what helped pave the way and build the sport, to what it is. And getting to be a part of that firsthand, it was really cool, really special.
Unbelievable. Well, you're going from that to this, and
Yeah,
you deserve to be in both places, man. You're a down to earth guy, and with
that.
a hell of a break, and fought a hell of a mountain to get there. So it's just great to know you. It's really a pleasure meeting you
Likewise,
finally after hearing about you so long. Um,
appreciate that.
Will, where can folks find you online to follow along with you as you go through the 2026 season?
So Will Smith Motorsports, Facebook, Instagram. I'm also on X and Twitter, WSM1320. You can also check us out. Follow us on definitely at SCAG Racing, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, scagracing.com, willsmithmotorsports.com. Those are the outlets that our team manages daily. So definitely want our fans to jump over there, give us a like and a follow, and um, you know keep up with us throughout the year and see firsthand what goes on at SCAG Racing through our race teams and the Bluebird Turf Top Fuel car.
Awesome. It's been such a great visit with you tonight, man. And
My
I'm
pleasure.
so glad you're feeling better. You went through it. There's a lot of warriors out there, a lot of folks kind of on that team, and it's not easy, but it's a hell of a lot easier when you got the grit and determination you have.
Well,
So,
I appreciate that very much. It hasn't been easy. It's been very challenging, through over the years to get here, as well as the health issues. I at one point wasn't sure I would make this race. Personally, I honestly kind of questioned. I wasn't sure about the first couple of races, but all our prayers were answered. The good Lord blessed us. Had a lot of people praying for me, and you know, prayers were answered, and here we are. So I've just got to do a good job for Randy, for Glenn, Scotty, our entire team, the whole SCAG Racing team, SCAG as a whole, all our dealers and distributors. They're who makes all this possible. That's why we're here. Our mission every time we come into the Mission Drag Racing Series is to win in the tent. And Randy and all the SCAG people that are part of our organization excel with that, having our dealers and distributors come out in whatever regions we're in, depending on what events they are. So I am personally really excited to represent these brands, to work with each and every one of our dealers and distributors out here. And I'm actually next week, I'm going to speak at my high school, Northside High School, back in Northport, Alabama. And I'm really excited about that, to talk with their career prep classes. Did it a few years ago, but clearly I wasn't in quite the position I am right now. So I'm really excited. But they want me to come in and speak about being a professional drag racer, but the message is way more than that. I mean, obviously, I'm going to talk about all the opportunities, career opportunities in drag racing and motorsports in general, but encourage the youth to, you know, find your passion, chase your dreams, and set goals. Um, it ain't going to be easy, but it's definitely worth it in the end. So I'm really excited to go out there and share my message with them. And you hit on earlier about, um, you know, being an inspiration. That's where I'm at right now. I mean, obviously, this is all about racing, but it's so much more than that. If I can inspire one person or have a positive impact on one person's life, then that's success for me, and that's my goal. And hopefully, it's way more than one person. Um, but that's what I'm most excited for the season.
I love it. Will Smith, you're awfully inspirational. You got one or two new fans tonight. Certainly me, certainly John, and everybody on the chat, and everybody out there watching. Ladies
I
and gentlemen,
appreciate that.
Will Smith, the Bluebird Turf Top Fuel Dragster, about to jump in it tomorrow and take on the 2026 season. What a pleasure visiting with you. All the best and have a great season.
Thank you so much. My pleasure to be here. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, let's say farewell to Mr. Will. So great to
Yeah.
visit with him. And let me turn it over to Mr. John Bachman for this week's JB's Take and the Racer of the Week. John?
Thanks, VP. I wasn't able to secure a Racer of the Week this time, so my backup is always JB's Take. I hope that's okay. Tonight I'm going to deliver the story, although it's heavily condensed, of my 22 years in the Montrose area of Houston. In 1967, after graduating from Kerwin High School in Galveston, I moved to Houston to attend the University of St. Thomas. Since I had won the English award in my senior year at Kerwin, my major at St. Thomas was English with a history minor. I wasn't happy with that. I got involved in the art department at St. Thomas, and over the next 3 semesters, I produced around 60 posters for the Today for Students display in the cafeteria every day. I had been exempted from art classes at Kerwin because when I was in the 8th grade, I had won a national art contest, and my teachers decided that I didn't need art classes. So the next 4 years built up a mountain of resentment in me, and during my time at St. Thomas, I unleashed my torrent of artistic creativity. And all those posters are gone now. They haven't been snatched up by my fellow students at that college. And after a year and a half at St. Thomas, I'd had enough. I painted my 62 Volkswagen Beetle red, white, and blue with stars and stripes. It was a party on wheels, and it was a visual staple of the Montrose scene for the next couple of years. I enrolled at Texas Academy of Art in March of 1969. I graduated in August of 1970 at the top of my class and began my career in art. In 2020, I was given the admin position of Texas Academy of Art's Facebook page, and I'm named as a reviewer of the graduating seniors portfolio from Houston Community College's art department. That's condensing 57 years into a paragraph, but my art career ran parallel to my technical career, which I decided to take on as a compromise so that I could fund my art and music careers, which all ran concurrently from 1970 until I retired in 2011. My years at Teledyne, Arco, and Unical produced, I guess, around 1 million maps, covering pretty much the whole planet. In addition to that, I was also the company artist, and my artwork was framed and showcased for 25 years. I designed the logo for Spirit Energy in the late 90s, and I was given awards for artistic accomplishments and leadership. Since I retired, I focused on art and music, and I no longer hold a day job. It's good. But my years in Montrose were an adventure. The Montrose area of Houston was the cultural hub of the Southwest behind Austin. I was living in the center of it all, and I had millions of ideas and inspirations to produce my art outside of what I did from 9 to 5, where I made a salary to carry my personal projects. I have to confess that my personal life at that time was a train wreck. I had 3 different lives that I was living, and I stretched my abilities to the limit and beyond. I had a long line of girlfriends that tried to distract and change me, but I stayed on course with my mission in life. I spent every waking hour with my music for 10,000 hours. I wrote 110 songs. I became proficient on all the musical instruments, guitar, bass, drums, and keyboards. And I spent 10 years creating those songs to the exclusion of playing in bands. I did take some time to play with bands, and they were good. I really wasn't 100% into being a so-called rock star, but that's what my fans wanted me to be. In 1982, I fell in love with a beautiful young girl named Debbie. We were married, and the day that Kyle was born in 1984, I gave up drugs, and I've been clean and sober ever since. Maybe I had a couple of backslides in the late 80s when me and Debbie were separated, but that's all in the past. Anyway, once my head cleared up, my memory and focus returned. I found that I had more ambition than I'd ever had before. Once word got out that I'd cleaned up, 90% of my friends never called or came over again. Cool with me. I could count my real friends on one hand. In the mid-80s, I was given free, unlimited studio time for 5 years. And in that time, I recorded 72 songs that I had written, playing all the instruments and doing all the vocals. Those years were the happiest times of my life. I didn't miss performing live. I had a lot more going on than doing a stage act with people who I loved, but didn't necessarily adhere to the lifestyle. In 1990, I received a call to come over and play bass for a blues band called the Kingfishers. It sounded like a good opportunity. No drugs, stable lives, and good boogie. I accepted it. It was fun. I met Scott Berman, the drummer, and we've been together ever since. The Kingfishers evolved into the City Kings, and that's another story altogether, and I'll talk about that at another time. In 1989, I moved out of Montrose. There were a number of reasons for that, but it was time to move on. I retained my membership in the Museum of Fine Art, the Smithsonian, and Rice University Art Department, but the Montrose vibe just wasn't there for me anymore. Debbie and I reunited in '95, and we raised our family from that point onward. It turned out well, and I'm grateful to have a stable family life. I still play music once a week here in the studio with Scott and Bill from the City Kings. We're slowly but surely recording an album, but we're all retired from playing live gigs, and we're all cool with that. Some highlights from my career while I was in Montrose are that I won the United Way poster contest in 1986. Unical backed me for that. In 2024, I was featured as the Texas Music Profile in Waves magazine from being recognized for my original music, which was digitally mastered at Warner Brothers in Burbank, and my years playing guitar, keyboards, and occasionally drums in the Pee Wee Bowen Band from 2005 until 2023. For my Montrose years, I have over 6,000 records in my collection. I don't collect records anymore, but the south wall of my study holds them. I learned a lot from that. I have condensed 22 years into about 5 minutes, and I know I'm leaving out a ton of stories as those years were quite a thrill ride. My involvement with Drag List started in 2001 and ran up until today. It's been wonderful. But for now, I'll leave it as it stands and wish all of my drag racing friends the very best now and in the future. Everybody stay safe and well. You are the most important part of this show, and we love you all. It's a great way to spend an hour together on a Monday night. We'll see you all next time. God bless America. Back to you, BP.
Thank you, John. Great stuff, my friend. Wow. And we get to take advantage of all that great artwork every single week here at draglist.com. So thanks, Unical, for paying the bills while John was getting it put together, but it's
Thank you.
all ours now. So, great to know you, my friend. I'm thinking, so I'm gonna this goes into my next comment here, but Sophia Roveda, our amazing social media intern, has been doing some amazing stuff this last weekend. She took two snippets of the Animal Gym show and two from the Scott Woodruff show with the NHRA and created reels or shorts. And we put those bad boys up on YouTube over the weekend. I put them up Saturday night and they blew up. Animal Gym's two videos from last week when we just took snippets of that interview have 1,700 views from like Saturday until tonight, like 2 days. And the IHRA, Scott Woodruff's has 1,000 views, right? That's just the separate little shorts that they're doing. Now, today, she took Animal Jim's great story about racing in the fog up in the mountains with Bill Coolman and put that one up. And I just popped that up on Facebook tonight and sent, some social media around for it. I expect that thing to blow out of the water. So our like viewership has just skyrocketed based on these shorts, and we're just going to continue doing them. So Sophia really making an impact here. And I just got a thing based on what you just said. We need to go back in. We're gonna, we found those 340 shows that we had up on Facebook Live. We're gonna put them all up here on the channel, but we're also gonna take TikToks or Reels or Shorts, whatever you want to call them, right? TikTok's a channel. I know that. I'm not that old. But those little 2 minute deals, we're going to take those out of all the shows we've done. And it just occurs to me, John, that we should do a JB's Take. I mean, we should do JB's Take like Reels and just pop those bad boys out. And so that it's just the future is amazing here. Based on what just a few things we've put up have radically expanded what we can put out there for folks. And I'm really looking forward to it. So
Well,
welcome aboard, Sophia, my friend, and John. Always glad to have you. Great stuff.
I'd be honored to do that, BP. Where are those reels located?
Well, if you go to our Facebook page, thank you for asking. If you go to our Facebook page, all of those are on the Drag List Facebook page and our group. So you'll see these crazy little now John didn't do them, it was me and AI, these crazy little goofy like cartoon things. But then you click those things and it takes you right to that reel. And the cool thing is Sophia not only captured front and end, she also, if there's a slight pause or something in them, she clipped them up so they move, like you see these folks doing with the reels or the shorts. But it's really cool. And man, I would love to see your stuff come in because I think that's the other thing with our YouTube platform here is, we can really start to segment the stuff that people like. And I would love to feature you telling people how to play or talking about art or something. I mean, it's the sky's the limit. But anyway, it's funny, interesting that you mentioned all this, and it ties right in to the updates we're making at YouTube. So, and again, so here's the deal, just to let everybody know, when we do a new show every Monday night, we're going to do our live interview. Now, the next day, about 12 to 24 hours, I always do the little edit at the front, to just jump right into the show because we have our syncing issue between YouTube and the Zoom platform. But after that, Sophia's also going to take every new show and pull out the cool stuff. And actually, what I did this last week, so I went through the Animal Gym show, watched it again, and then I said, hey, start here and end here, and then she creates it. Now I think there's a couple of tools out there that'll automate some of that, but for now, it's basically watching the show again, grabbing the juiciest parts, and Sophia then takes those and creates these shorts for us. So she'll be doing that tonight with the Will Smith show. And, as I'm watching the show and watching our guest talk, I'm like, oh man, that's gold. That's going to be gold. We're going to grab that piece. And of course, we'll never ever take down the entire interview. That's always going to be up there. So Anyway, very, very excited. And I love having my friend Sophia with us. I love to keep her forever, but she is an intern. She has to go on and live her life. So we'll have to see how things go. And she hasn't, and we got to get her on Facebook too, because I know a lot of people are interested in saying hi. And by the way, let's not forget our friend Kay Turkelson and all her amazing live videos. Excuse me. Kay has said, hey, let's grab those. And I just sent one to Sevilla um, over the weekend. And so those cool live interviews that Kay does at the track and all the like, hijinks with Nitro Alley and folks like that with all of our guests and all of those shout outs. Those are also things we can take and create these little shorts. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. We're gonna keep going. I have a plan for an intern for the entire year. I set up, I worked with a company, and I may start actually even putting their logo on as kind of a sponsor. But Sophia's our first one, and she's knocking it out of the park. So anyway, now let me go on and let's talk about upcoming guests because Kate Turkelson also, in addition to doing the great live videos from the tracks, she primarily goes and grabs us some amazing guests like Will Smith tonight. So next Monday night is Jerry Cumry, the NHRA Top Alcohol Dragster, A Fuel Dragster, Junkyard Ed Racing racer. Can't wait to talk to Jerry. He's been out there with his dukes up and fighting against everybody else for a long, long time, and really, really one of the top guys in his category. On March 16th, Destiny Spurlock, the young lady, is an NHRA Pro Stock motorcycle rookie, but she also is a NASCAR rookie. And really having a good time talking with her PR folks and looking forward to having Destiny on the show. Really a breath of fresh air and looking forward to checking in with this young talent. On March 23rd, McKenna Bold, second year in the Randy Meyer Top Alcohol Dragster. McKenna, one of the, again, a very young lady out there racing and huge on social media. And it's a new world, folks. Looking forward to talking to McKenna. And on March 30th, Shane Westerfield was the 2025 NHRA Heritage Champion. Of course, we're now seeing his fabulous new funny car, the beautiful blue machine. Coming up in April, Matthew Leonard, the Nitro Rat, who's his family's from Australia, but he's up here. His dad was one of the greatest Australian racers ever, Len Leonard. But Matthew's going to be joining us in April, and Butch Hill from Nostalgia Drag Racing League is going to be joining us in May. And Kay has told me she's got some other great names. We'll fill in some of these other slots as we go forward. But really, really great stuff. And this was an interesting. I had one uh, lost friend tonight, and that's about the max number I want, not 14 like last week. But this week, on the 26th of February, we lost Lonnie Brazel. Lonnie, if you're a door slammer hardcore guy or gal, Lonnie was a long time sportsman pro uh, uh, top sportsman and pro mod racer from Elgin, South Carolina. He made real impacts in the sport back in the early 90s. He raced a Camaro called the Brazel and Smith. They were a big part of the IHRA series and a lot of local quick aid action. And I really want to focus on these guys because when I hear these guys' names, I go back to late night calls with Kepner when he was like, on the IHRA tour and we were doing the drag list in a booklet form, and he would, basically tell me all this stuff, and I'd be writing it down in notebooks, and and it's just there's just a bunch of really great door slammer racers from down south. And Will Smith and we talked about some of them tonight, but Lonnie Brazel, Elgin, South Carolina. Great guy, and really a tough racer in his time. These guys need to be remembered, and that's why we're proud to do it at draglist.com. But our condolences to Lonnie's family and all of his friends. Um, and that's our show. John, let's get into our wrap section here as we wrap things up. Your thoughts on the show?
It was a wonderful interview with a wonderful person. Uh, Will Smith is a great guy, very down to earth guy, and he understands the magnitude of the opportunity that he has here, and I know that he's going to do everything he can to make the most of it. and I'm going to be rooting for him all season long. I have no doubt that he's headed for success. The guy is just solid gold, man, and I'm looking forward to his future.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. I really, I've known of Will, followed along with some of these various rides, certainly with Larry Dixon, who I like a lot. But he's just amazing, man. It's hard not to like him. He comes in so down. And I had a chance to talk with him for about 15 minutes before the show went on. And just what a great, great guy. And fighting some battles, but smiling and cheerful and making it happen. Let's go ahead and let's do a final wrap. Thank you, John. I do want to thank Will Smith for coming on. He was fantastic. Best of luck this year, sir. John Bockelman, my brother. And you hear just a tiny bit of John's background tonight, but man, the whole story is amazing. Kay Turkelson out there making stuff happen. Sophia Raveda, my dear little friend, she's just getting it rocking and rolling. And Pete Moriello, see lots of great. I always get lots of good messages from Pete. Lots of good stuff. He's so much fun. Lots of funny photos this week. Um, Rob McCabe, rocking. Rob McCabe's like, hey guys, every year for since we started doing it in 1996, some poor guy, and it's typically a guy so far, has to go and transfer all the previous year racers to the new year. That's Rob McCabe as he's starting us off for 2026. And when the tour finally hits, that'll be a lot of work. I may even have to help. Thanks, Rob. You're rocking it, buddy. David Oakes. By the way, David Oakes, congratulations. This got a couple of his photos selected for publication in a great magazine. Our great friend. Melba Shore, thank you, sir, for the 50s stuff. Ron Toombs going out there and making sure every little detail and every little 60s and 70s and 80s drag list entry is right. John Mernon II with lots of great photos by all of our great volunteers who've given us the best work in the world to put into the drag lists. And of course, Dave Wislowski, the video man who keeps track of everything and is filling in a lot of great IHRA content from way back in the day when it wasn't as well covered. I want to thank Jeff Gilder for getting us started back in 2010. As always, special shout out to our friend Nitro Alley, who just so kind to tell her fans to follow along. And of course, thanks in heaven to the man himself, Danny White. We love you, brother. We never forget you. I think about you every time I go into the drag list because there's your name, and I will never take those names out of there. Please like, share, and subscribe. Really, really fun to bring this show to you, and please share it with your friends and pals. It helps get the word out there. Check it on draglist.com every day to see what's new. We do publish daily drag news from around the world. And now that the season's about to ramp up, we will have all the coverage of the NHRA season and the IHRA season when it kicks off. You can find us on the Radio Bob Network as well, which kindly showcases our shows. And finally, I'm done flapping my gums tonight. So let's see. We'll see you on March 9th, next Monday night for Jerry Cummery, NHRA Top Alcohol Dragster, Slant A Fuel Dragster, whatever you want to call them, Junkyard Ed Racing. And have a great week, folks. It snowed again here in the DC area. Can you believe that? It was nothing, and then it snowed, and they put like 3 inches on the ground. But now it's going to be 70 in 2 days. So you figure it out. I can't figure it out. Anyway, a pleasure visiting with you tonight, as always, and have an awesome, awesome week.